What is the relationship that exists between our thoughts and what occurs in our lives? Tune into my talk show, Universal Talk, Saturday, May 1st, 2010, where we will explore the evidence. We welcome Phyllis Schlemmer. Phyllis is internationally known as a psychic, medium, astrologer, and healer. She is the author of The Only Planet of Choice, based on communications transceived from a group of beings known as the Nine. Culminated from over 20 years of research with her colleagues. Aside from her continued work with the Nine, she has worked with various corporations and civic leaders and assisted law enforcement in locating missing persons. Visit her website at www.theonlyplanetofchoice.com. Tune in as we discuss the possibilities on Universal Talk, Saturday, May 1st at 10 a.m.
Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Universal Talk. On today's show, we ponder the relationship that exists between our thoughts and what occurs in our lives. Let's present the case. First, we must consider that what we think may just become reality. What if thought did become reality? What if, by simply focusing a thought on a certain intent, that an individual could manifest what they are wanting or needing? In a moment, we'll have Phyllis Schlemmer on the show. Phyllis is an internationally known psychic, medium, astrologer, and healer. She's the author of The Only Planet of Choice, based on communications transceived from a group of beings known as the Nine, culminated from over 20 years of research with her colleagues. Aside from her continued work with the Nine, she has worked with various corporations and civic leaders and assisted law enforcement agencies in locating missing persons. Hello, Phyllis Schlemmer. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Hello. Good morning, everyone.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, okay. Let's see. I'm 81 years old. I've been working in this field since I've been approximately 5 years old. Both my grandmothers, were mediums and psychics, so they were kind of my teachers, or disciplinarians, whatever you want to call it. I don't know where I can go with this because I've done so many things in my lifetime with it. And I've worked with Dr. Andrea Puharich for about 25 years. The Nine entered our life, or my life, in the late 60s. Puharich recognized who they were, and I do deep trance. I go into an unconscious state, have no memory, and these beings speak through me. Or one of them does. One of them calls himself the spokesperson, and he says his name is Tom. I lived in Israel for many years. I grew organic fruit over there. And I never did know Hebrew, but when I moved to Israel, what I found out is that word, which it's not exactly Tom as we know it, but the way it's like Tom, is the Hebrew word for innocence. So maybe that's who they are. I mean, they come across like that. I had a school in Orlando where I was developing about 18 people for mediumship, and I used to teach in trance. And then one time, a being came in who was completely different than the teacher that was what I considered a spirit teacher teaching them, who was very gentle, soft-spoken, and my class told me about him. I recorded everything when, in those days, going back in that time, we had these big reel-to-reel recorders, and one of my students would turn it on when I went into trance, and the teacher would teach them. Well, this being came in, and my class talked to me afterwards. We used to, I didn't permit them to eat before the class, like from 2 o'clock. We met at class about 8. And then afterwards, we would eat and share. They would share with me what had happened, and they told me about this being who spoke beautifully, gently, and spoke of universal things, not of personal things. This went on for a couple of weeks, and finally I said to them, do you ask who he is? And they said, no. I said, you have to challenge. You always must challenge. So one of them did challenge and said, well, who are you? What's your name? And he said he was a spokesman and so forth. And then they said, well, we can't record you. And he said, well, isn't it the correct thing to ask permission before you do that? And they finally got it, and they did ask permission. And from then on, he's been recorded. So that's a bit of the background. I've done a lot of work in my field with this ability, and I've been grateful for it. I have 2 absolutely wonderful daughters. I have a fantastic granddaughter and 2 wonderful great-grandchildren, a little boy, Matthew, and a girl named Molly. My daughters have the ability, but they don't use it. My oldest daughter is a bit afraid of it. She's a fantastic astrologer, but she's very